much.
In a Title IX appropriate way, you all look beautiful.
Of course.
Back at you, Doug.
Yeah. Title IX.
Hi, everyone. Good morning or good afternoon, depending on where you're coming from. My name is Amber Angel, and I have a great panel with me today. You are in our session, Disrupting Systems, Re-envisioning Community College Going Forward. We are from Los Angeles Community College District, Los Angeles Valley College, and Monroe Community College in New York. So with me, I will have everyone introduce themselves. We kind of will just talk a little bit about who we are and our work. And if you could all do that in the chat box, just introduce yourself and where you're from, or what your role is in this work. That will be helpful for us to kind of get a sense of it all as we have this conversation. This is a little bit of our run of show. And the title of all of who we all are, but you're about to hear from each of us individually. And some of you may know me. I'm looking in the attendance box, and I'm seeing some familiar names, and I can't see your faces, but I am a program coordinator at the Family Resource Center at Los Angeles Valley College. I started as a student parent of the program. And I actually now also teach as an adjunct instructor for 21st century workforce skills courses, which I know my dean, Dr. Marriott, will probably touch on. And I'm just super thrilled to be here. So I'm going to pass it over to Dr. Adrienne Ann Mullen.
Thank you, Amber. Hi, my name is Adrienne Ann Mullen, and I am the District Dean for Adult Education in LACCD. And you may ask, what does that mean? And what is LACCD? So LACCD is comprised of 9 colleges that cover over 850 square miles. We serve about 250,000 students a year. And I think what's important to note is that we serve more Latino and African-American students than the whole University of California system combined. 1 in 5 of our students have food or housing insecurity. 35% are parents. of that subset that I work with, which is adult education, it's about 25,000 students. This past year, we've seen a reduction of our students served because of the pandemic. We've lost about 30% of our enrollment. I also work with 17 adult schools across this 850 square miles. So today we're going to share with you some programs that we put in place to serve our student parents. Of course, this work would not be possible without the support of many, and we are so pleased and privileged to have the support of a Board of Trustee member on our team, and that is Andrea Hoffman. And she's going to share a little bit more about her journey and then take us forward into our presentation. So thank you.
Thank you, Adrienne Ann. So this picture is 30 years old, and it's really representative of why I do the work that I do. My name is Andrea Hoffman. I am currently a member of the Board of Trustees for the Los Angeles Community College District, which you just heard is the largest district probably in the world, but most certainly in the nation. We have 9 colleges and over 230,000 students that come through our doors. But in addition to my work on the Board of Trustees for the district, I also work in a community college district. I work in the Glendale Community College District. So shout out, I see 2 of my colleagues here today from Glendale, Arpie and Ophelia, and maybe more have joined, so welcome. And I'm also, I was elected, and I'm really proud of this work as well, as first vice president for our statewide advocacy organization, the Community College League of California. And in that capacity, we've spun off to have a women's caucus where I serve as chair of the policy committee, working on some statewide initiatives to better capture who are our student parents and how can we do a better job of serving them. I feel like in this role, I have really the capacity to do so much for our students who are parents. And this picture, these 2 pictures really represent, you know, what I thought was going to be the beginning and end of my journey. My goal in life was to become a mommy, and I did. But like so many of our student parents, life throws us a curveball and we realize, okay, wow, I need to get an education. I need to be able to support these 2 little beings that I just brought into the world. And I really struggled as a single parent returning to college. And I returned to the same college, LA Valley College, where I am now on the Board of Trustees. And you'll hear a little bit more about the work that I'm doing with the Family Resource Center and LA Valley College as we get deeper into our presentation. I also want to mention that I've been working in the community college system for, I'm going into my 24th year. And I was hired at Glendale Community College to run a Welfare to Work AmeriCorps literacy program, where the participants in my program were women with young children who had never been to college. Many of them were immigrants. English was not their first language. And when I had to recruit these students, I went to the Head Start preschool site. So I recruited the moms of all, preschool age children. And not only did they wind up getting an education and getting their certificates and degrees in early childhood education, many went on to become K-12 teachers, many went on to open their own daycare centers, and others went on to teach preschool, but they learned so much about their own resiliency and parenting skills along the way. So it's really a pleasure and an honor to be able to come full circle. We're doing so much more now than we were doing 24 years ago. And when I first was elected to the Board of Trustees, I was introduced to the Family Resource Center at LA Valley College. So now it is my pleasure to introduce Marnie Roosevelt as the program director who had a vision, and that vision became a reality that nobody could imagine would be so successful today. So Marnie.
Thank you, Andrea. Yeah, I did have a vision. My vision was certainly not what the Family Resource Center has turned into now, but my vision was that a college campus would be family friendly. And I envisioned strollers on campus. That's why I love the photo that you're looking at, because that was really my first vision. I thought that if students could bring their kids, it would also make it a more interesting, fun campus for the non-parents as well. So I came from sort of what I call the corporate world of consulting. Work family life is what it was called then. And when I started teaching at Valley about, I want to say about 20 years ago, students used to talk to me about their own personal struggles as parents. And I thought, I'll get them together, they'll talk to each other, they'll learn to support each other. I didn't know where it would lead, but I thought it could lead somewhere good. And it kind of took off. Parents really, really liked coming. They wanted to bring their kids. The kids played. I got child development student interns to be with the kids so that I could be with the moms and dads. And then I started writing grants and funded it a lot in the beginning through early childhood workforce dollars, because there was a lot of that in LA at the time with First Five and Los Angeles Universal Preschool. And it just kind of kept growing. And then the building that you see, I got $1.5 million donated from a local developer. So everything kind of fell into place. And it was different then in that I didn't have to prove a need. Now, most of you who are thinking about this probably have to, create some data, and Marianne's going to talk to you about that later. But I really didn't have to. I had the freedom to just try things out and kind of word of mouth, figure out who our student parents were. And I think things are different now. And I appreciate that we've been able to collect data. We've been able to grow with the movement. And it certainly is a movement now that it wasn't when we started. And, there's a lot of really key players in the community who have made it into a movement. And Family Resource Center, we are the only one on a community college campus in California. I suspect that's changing now, that there are more colleges that are starting to think about student parents as an important part of their community. And I think COVID has really, brought them to light more. And I'll talk about that later. But one of the changes that we've had in the last, I want to say 8 years or so, is that I started working with the workforce training department, and Doug Marriott and I wrote a grant, not just me, our team, and we got it. And basically what we are doing with Strengthening Working Families is putting all the components of the Family Resource Center onto Workforce Academies. And it's been absolutely amazing. It's been wonderful. We've been refunded by the California Workforce Association multiple times, I think 4 times, to really grow what we're doing. And we're just starting in July. June, we're starting a new round of funding, and we're going to work with partners at Shasta College and the Chancellor's Foundation in Sacramento. So we're really excited about growing what we do. And we've got ideas for where we want to take the Family Resource Center as well. But Doug is going to tell you about how he implemented the work that we do together in sort of a larger way on our campus. So Dr. Marriott.
Thank you, Marnie. Good morning, good afternoon, good day to everybody. We're grateful that you're here and that you're interested in this work, and we appreciate the work that you're doing at your institutions. I like the spirit of what was shared by Andra and Marnie and Amber. And at one of the points in my career, I got to work with migrant farm workers, and it was a high school equivalency program, and we did training in Spanish at night for GED acquisition. And when we added in a family component, so that individuals could bring their children who could get tutored and studied next to their parents. The program took off. It was an extra grant, but that always stuck with me, that education is a family endeavor. And when you address it holistically, you have greater success. At Valley College, since we have the only family resource center in the state of California, and since I've worked with Marnie on workforce grants, it was clear the connection to be able to add holistic supportive services to help individuals overcome barriers. And to put those services under one umbrella, these are the areas that I oversee. And I get to work with great people at Valley. And when everybody is aware of where these services are located, it's much easier to address challenges when they arrive. In our short-term workforce academies, where we're working with individuals that need to get jobs, they don't necessarily want to stay for a 2-year degree. They need to get in, get training, and get work. So we reverse engineer to the job. They might have childcare challenges. There's been issues with domestic violence, food and housing insecurity, as Dr. Mullen mentioned. And when we have a social worker and a licensed marriage and family therapist embedded in the work, we're able to create more community connections and support, which has both improved our work quantitatively. We've seen greater persistence to completion and with placements into living wage jobs. And qualitatively, we get feedback from individuals that, thank you. We don't know who works for which area, but we know that everybody cares about us moving forward. It's a feeling that you get when you walk into the Family Resource Center, and I'm grateful that that's been able to be embedded in workforce, because right now, as we move out of the pandemic, I think workforce development, the focus of the Biden administration on short-term workforce training and partnerships with industry is more important than ever. But we have the opportunity to embed new resources into that. So it's a holistic approach. And I really believe that every community college, every institute of higher ed should have a social worker on campus. When you think about the barriers and the mental health challenges or other things that come up, if you need to refer somebody outside of your campus, wow, I'm wearing the same tie. That's if you need to refer somebody outside of your campus, then that's a problem. But if you have somebody who has done a workshop on stress reduction, who has a rapport with the cohort, you're more apt to capture the individual where they're at and help them move up and succeed. So feel really privileged for the leadership of Andra Hoffman at the trustee level to promotes this. And I'm grateful for the team that we get to work with. And it really is about people and relationships. And we were lucky to bring on a really thoughtful, compassionate individual in Luma, who I get to introduce, Luma Haddad, who really helps connect the dots. She's trained in a coordinated entry system. Many people at institutes of higher ed don't know what the coordinated entry system is. And so for Luma to be able to connect community dots, to go represent Valley College with other nonprofits and social service agencies and make linkages right away. So if somebody needs diapers, if they need access to a pantry, if they need access to childcare vouchers, we've used special funding to help people get a driver's license so they can go to and from training. Luma has been instrumental in that. So it's my pleasure and privilege to introduce Luma Haddad. And I'm grateful for the whole team I get to work with. And I'm thankful for everybody that visited us today. You can get rid of that picture, Amber.
So I'm just going to mention, thank you, Doug. And that was a really nice and honest introduction of Luma and how incredible she is. But this is not a picture, it's a video. This is our it's a quick 3-minute video that was sponsored by EDD and CWA, highlighting the work of strengthening working families. And we thought we would share it today because it kind of captures what Doug was talking about. And actually, I believe Luma is in this video. And then I will pass it back on to Luma and Mary Ann.
This thing on? It is. Hi, everybody. I work with
employers
with the unhoused and homeless
and vulnerable population and
non-binary and intersex community,
family child care providers.
I work with job seekers in Oakland, in Los Angeles, California,
In Butte County.
Rancho Cucamonga,
in San Rafael, California.
I work with adult job seekers in Los Angeles. At Los Angeles Valley College, we found that there were needs outside of training that were barriers to persistence, completion, and job placement. The integration of strengthening working families with a licensed marriage and family therapist and a social worker has addressed these issues in a holistic way with our partnership with the Family Resource Center.
The Family Resource Center was really born from the idea of our students having outside lives that impacted their success in school. And we now have a strong workforce component so that our students can also progress in their professional and career goals.
Since we work directly with employers, we have a 90% placement rate. They're likely to get a job to stabilize that aspect of their lives, but they'll have connections with other resources as well.
This has been especially important now with all of the challenges that our student parents have faced. During the COVID pandemic, we were able to enroll our students in the Strengthening Working Families class so that they didn't have to completely drop out of the college and can add a credit class as they begin to feel more comfortable and they're able to do so.
The needs are met, they're seen as whole people, they're more likely to stay with us till the end. And in doing so, we've noted quantitative successful change with our participants, but also a qualitative change that I see every week with the teams that I get to work with. Because of the Workforce Accelerator Funds, the paradigm shift in the way we do business has been far-reaching. The work that we've been able to do led to us being picked by our 9-college district to lead a Department of Labor grant where Strengthening Working Families is embedded in the proposal. Components of what we've done and what we've modeled and proven are now in place at 3 other campuses within our district.
Accelerator Funds are the first grant that I've ever worked with that has allowed us to try out different solutions and to figure out what works best for our individuals and be able to improve.
That is such a great video, by the way. And Doug, not only are you wearing the same tie, Marnie's wearing the same necklace. You got, you didn't get the memo. You didn't prep for this.
Could I just say to United Way Austin, thank you for the compliment on the tie. My 7-year-old daughter picked it out, who was also a user of the Family Resource Center and an advocate for the work. So thank you, United Way Austin.
And I'm trying to figure out how to switch to go to the next slide, Luma, for you. And there we go, we figured it out. There we go, go ahead. And I noticed, I just want to mention to you, I noticed some Q&A definitely coming through that we are almost done with this portion of it. We're going to stop screen sharing and we're going to kind of have a conversation. And I definitely would like to address those to the people I believe will be the best to respond to them. So Luma.
Thank you. Yeah, I am Luma and I work with Marnie and Amber at the Family Resource Center with student parents. And I also work with workforce training students under Doug's leadership. Before I talk about my role, let me give you just a little tiny bit about me. Like Andra and Amber, I'm also a product of LA's community college system. I was a first generation college student, one of 7 kids to a single parent, who we were never above the poverty line at any point. English was my second language. I dropped out of high school for some time, dropped back in, and I also dropped in and out of college throughout my career as many of our students do. Quick snippet into how things may have gone. Of my 5th grade class, which was about 40 something students, there were only a handful of us that made it through high school. I don't know if any of them went to college. I don't know if anyone else made it through college because that's something else. But I think about them all the time. And I think about maybe how things could have been different for them had they received some services. And at the FRC, our job and my role is to hopefully intercept at the point of or prior to a point of a crisis that may be the thing that causes us to lose our students, maybe permanently lose our students as enrolled college students. So I'm called a resource counselor. And essentially what I do is I make myself available to students to share with me about their life circumstances individually and confidentially, about things like you see on this slide, about these kind of issues, maybe the kind of issues that many might think are outside of the scope of what a college should care about or be prioritizing. These are the kind of issues I want them to tell me about. And these type of barriers. And if I do my job well, then they will open up to me. I think I'm able to get that because of my background in social work and a special training that I think is integral to anyone who has a role like this. It helps to create that relationship that's important, but there's also the fact that I'm very well versed, and I make a point to stay well versed in what is out there for our students in the community. So what service agencies are available, what government funding my students might be eligible for and they don't know. You know, what's on campus funding and resource wise. And if things go as we hope, you know, and they often do, a student can come in, speak to me, open up, and then in real time, I can give them a potential solution. So that's really a powerful thing if someone opens up to you about something they're experiencing, like housing insecurity, food, mental health issue, and I can right away say, you know what, I think there might be a solution for that we can help you with. There's a real meaning in that, both in, you know, that it in of itself that we can hopefully help remove the barrier, but also just psychologically for that student in that moment. So my work varies quite a bit as to you know, like the needs of our students. So it might be that I just meet with the student individually, and in a couple of conversations, we are able to solve what is before them. Maybe I will know of a great agency I can refer them to that will help solve the situation. Sometimes what I'm doing is helping a student advocate for themselves. For example, to appeal a financial aid decision, or to maybe reach out to an instructor about needing an incomplete because a crisis came up. And these are the kind of things that so often are kind of the last thing that happens before a student decides to just give up, right? Something goes wrong with financial aid, or they just are about to fail class and they can't do that. And then they drop out, right? So that my work is hopefully to grab them at that point in time before they make that decision. One last important aspect of what I do, especially in this last year where mental health has been a huge barrier for our students. And because in my role, I don't have the capacity or sometimes the very specialized expertise to be able to offer ongoing mental health treatment, we have created a partnership with a local counseling center. And that means that if it's decided that that's probably what a student needs to stick through school, I can refer that student immediately, directly to counselors that I know, that I talk to, and there's no wait list and it's free to that student. So that's also been huge. And that's the gist of what I do.
Perfect. Thank you, Luma. And it's kind of a perfect segue to Marianne, who's going to talk you know, about herself and her work, but the importance to, when doing this work, about data collection. I'm sure it's all something I've been seeing even in the Q&A, how we're asking these questions about who our students are. And Marianne is a rock star in that regard. So.
Thank you so much, Amber. Thank you everybody for being here today. My name is Dr. Mary Ann DeMario. I'm a specialist in the Institutional Research Office at Monroe Community College. We're in Rochester, New York, about 6 hours northwest of New York City. So I've been at MCC for about 15 years now. My bachelor's degree is in psychology, and my master's and PhD are in human development and family studies with a concentration in parenting. I knew going through school that what I wanted to do for a living was to conduct research that could be turned into programs and services to serve families. So after grad school, I got a job at a nonprofit in New York City, where I conducted studies on what members of the Healthcare Workers Union needed in order to balance work and family. Then I turned that data into actionable results and developed programs for those parents and their kids. I loved my job, but after several years, I decided that I wanted to move back to upstate New York, where I'd lived from ages 9 to 18. I got the job here at MCC in the Institutional Research Office. And to be honest, I never planned on doing research on college students. I wanted to do research in service of families. So I considered MCC to be a temporary position for me. It was only supposed to last a few months, but it got me back up to this part of New York State so I could look for opportunities at area nonprofits and think tanks while I was here. Growing up, I was not a math person. I was an English and an art person. But what I love about research is that it allows me to paint a picture about a group of people, and it lets me use the numbers to tell a story about their experiences. So MCC is unique in that since 2003, we've collected data on our students' marital and parental status. And if our students are parents, we collect data on their kids' ages. So MCC has had loads of this data since 2003, but no one had actually looked at it. The idea of collecting the data was so that we would have it in case our campus childcare center ever needed help applying for grants. Around 2014, I worked with our grants office and our Richard M. Guan Child Care Center at MCC to help the center apply for the federal C Campus grant. And what I said during the meeting with the center's director and with the director of our grants office was, you know what, MCC has data on which of our students are parents. And if you give me a list of the Child Care Center students, I'll be able to tell which of our parents have young kids old enough to use the Child Care Center. So let me just see what I can find out. I'll extract the data, I'll analyze it. Who knows, maybe my analysis could show that our students with young kids who used our Child Care Center do better than our students with little kids who didn't use the center. So I extracted the data from our system and analyzed it. And lo and behold, this is what I found, the slide that Amber is sharing with you. So let's see. I found that our student parents with little kids who use the Child Care Center persisted from one fall semester to the next at 1.5 times the rate of our students with little kids who didn't use the center. And the ones who did use the center graduated on time at more than 3.5 times the rate of the parents with little kids who didn't use the center. MCC was just a handful of colleges in New York State to get the federal C Campus grant that year. And we were awarded the largest funding. And it was great. I was so happy for our Child Care Center. I had been on their Child Care Advisory Board for years and was really happy to serve them because I saw firsthand the good work they did. I also secretly made plans to send my kids there if and when I had kids, so that was a bonus for me. My data analysis, however, just sort of sat on MCC's M Drive collecting dust for a few years. No one really thought about it that much. And then one day, our Child Care Center director met the executive director of the Institute for Women's Policy Research at a conference and mentioned my Child Care Center research to her. From there, things just snowballed. IWPR really led the way with recognizing my research and communicating it nationally. What they told me was that my research was the only evidence of its kind that campus-based childcare really does help students who are parents succeed. So because of that, I was invited to get in on the ground floor of the national student parent movement and I've met the most amazing people through it, including Marnie and Amber from LA Valley. And because of that, I get to hear people from all over the nation talk about what their colleges and organizations are doing to help student parents. And this just renewed my interest in looking at MCC's data on our student parents. So what I did was I dug back into the data and ran all sorts of analyses to learn more about our student parents, who they are, how many of them there are, how many of those are Pell eligible, how many are moms versus dads, how do they do in the long term at MCC? And what I found was that our student parents are so unique compared to our other students. They're more motivated. They earn higher GPAs their first semester at MCC. They spend more time studying and doing homework each week than our non-parents. But in the long run, they have higher dropout rates. And this really struck me and motivated me to work more in that area, not just behind the scenes running the data analysis, but taking those results and helping to turn them into something actionable that we can do to benefit our student parents. So that's just a little bit about me and how I became a part of this environment. And I just thank you so much for being here today and listening to what we have to say. This is the first SPSS conference I've ever presented at, and it's an additional honor to be here with the bedrock of the student parent movement, LA Valley College.
Thank you, Mary Ann. And, thank you to all of the panelists who, are so passionate about their work, and for all of you with your thoughtful questions and everything, one in the chat and where you're coming from. I see a few student parents in the audience as well. I just have to say to that childcare piece, which is going to lead me into a question to you, Marnie, that I didn't even prepare, but I'm just thinking about now is, I know I wouldn't have made it through as a community college student without having my child in childcare. I didn't know at the time either the importance of having it on campus. And that's something I want to make sure to clarify too, that the Family Resource Center doesn't offer childcare. We support the childcare center with funding through some C-Campus funding. And that's a question for you, Marnie, as well, that's been coming up of how that Family Resource Center is funded. But it is really important to also recognize that it's so much more than childcare, that childcare is a piece of it, but that you need all this additional support. And thinking, Marnie, about COVID right now and coming back as California and the world is kind of starting to open a little bit more, what kind of additional supports are going to be needed for students when coming back, and how can a Family Resource Center or how can a parenting program support those students and their children as that happens?
Well, like everybody in the community, everybody on this presentation had to shift what we were doing. And we did shift. Before, you saw some of our services with the slide that Amber had up. And we had what we call a menu of services. People could come in for one thing, they could get something else, they could come once a week, they could come every day, they could pick their kids up at childcare and come and hang out and do homework. But of course, we couldn't do any of that. So we shifted quickly from the menu of services to reach out. We got a very quick initial funding from Believe in Students, which was amazing, because what that allowed us to do, we got it within, I think, the first 2 weeks of going virtual. And what that allowed us to do was to survey our students and really find what they were dealing with. So what we found was what Luma was talking about, that that students needed a much higher touch program. So we changed our model, and we're definitely serving less students than we were serving, but we're serving them more deeply and more intensely. We're serving them with parent cafes, and Luma meets with each and every one. We're giving them stipends and funding and doing activities for their kids, because they talked about their kids experiencing mental health problems. I'm listing only a few, but I do want to get back to, so as we think about going back to campus, because our Child Development Center is opening up this summer, we will start transitioning back on campus. And I think what we've learned through this is that we do need to include more of that higher touch segment of what we do. And right now we're in the process, our team is in the process of figuring out what we're going to keep virtually, because some of virtual activities work so well for student parents and as well for their older kids, you know, for the adolescent kids that we're working with in groups. But we do want to bring back on-campus services, which we, you know, have plans to do. I don't know if I answered your question. I think that it's, you know, in many ways, I said we started out 20 years ago. I started out just kind of trying things and seeing what stuck and what worked. And honestly, we're going to survey our students. We do that a lot to ask them what they see their needs are as we're transitioning back, what they want to keep virtual, what they want in person, what other needs they have. But basically, we ask our students and then we try things. And we've been really, really fortunate to have the support on campus so that we can work a bit independently in that way and have the freedom to try out what works, enhance it or drop it, change what we do. So really, Amber, the answer is, we don't know. We're just going to try a lot of different things and get feedback from our students.
Which I just have to say, as you know, I met Marnie as a student in her class. I had to come to her and tell her I was gonna miss a class to go have my baby on spring break and come back, and she kind of laughed at me. But then I did it, and then she hired me. But that you've always been really authentic in making sure that parent voice is at the center of what we do. And I think everyone in this room has shown that. I really enjoyed hearing from you, Mary Ann. I didn't know all of your back history. I too am a family studies graduate. And so just always keeping that in the root of what we do. Andra, you know, obviously Marnie's talking about what we're doing at the college level and directly with students. And Luma, I want to ask that to you too, but you know, you're kind of at this macro level as a board trustee of the largest community college system, and you know, in the second, I think in the country, but also at the state, what you're doing to advocate for student parents and at the legislature. And that's a question kind of about admissions and and I mentioned CCC Apply. Can you just talk a little bit about what you're doing in your statewide advocacy for parenting students, and what that's about?
Thank you, Amber. First of all, I'm so proud to be a part of this panel, and we've taken our show on the road, so to speak, for a few years now. You know, when I first got on the board, I was elected with another woman who quickly left. She ran for a position in the state legislature. So I was literally the only woman on the board for the past almost 5 years. Fortunately, that changed in November of 2020, but it's, you know, women govern very differently. So I'm really proud to be able to sort of lead the effort to support student parents and call to the attention of the entire district how important it is that we support our student parents, because 35% of our students are caring for children under the age of 18 in their home. And I also want to say, and I think we're going to touch on this as well, because I see a lot of questions in the chat, the Family Resource Center is not supported by any district funding. And that's something that I'm pushing hard for. You know, we need to institutionalize this program, and it's been great. Marnie and Amber and Doug, you've been terrific at writing grants and hustling, so to speak, to support the center and our holistic approach, but we really need to figure out a way to get it institutionalized on District 01 funds, right? Because so oftentimes with programs like these, when the people leave, the program goes away, and we certainly don't want that to ever happen. So, you know, in my statewide role, and I really want to give a shout out to a colleague of mine, Erin Edwards. I don't know if she's here today. I think she had another meeting. She's the president of the CalWorks Association, which CalWorks is the TANF sort of program in California to support students who are parents and to support parents with, additional funding while they continue their education or go back to work. And she and I have been working to try to get a question on our statewide application so that we can actually capture the data at the state level, because that's data that we don't have. And I'm really impressed with the work that you're doing, Mary Ann, because we really need to do a better job of finding out who are our student parents and what do they need in terms of support statewide. The governor, fortunately, has kind of revamped the Cal Grant, so that's state aid for students who have dependents. And so they can get an extra $4,000 in their Cal Grant disbursement if they're caring for dependents as well. The other thing that I'm going to push really hard for, and this is, at the federal level, I went back to school as a single mom with like no support for my children. So I had to take out the maximum amount in loans. It took me 22 years to get a bachelor's degree. And then shortly thereafter, I got my master's degree. So I got my master's degree when I was 45 years old. I took out the maximum in student loans. And I think we've all read the statistics that student parents really either default on their student loans. It takes them many years to graduate and to pay off those loans. And sometimes they don't even get jobs that are at a high enough wage to pay off those loans. I'm still paying off my student loans. I'm going to be a 59-year-old woman. I have 2 kids that graduated from college, and I'm still paying off my own student loans. So that's another reform that we really need to work on. We need to designate student parents as an equity group. In California, especially, we have pots of money for student equity and achievement. They're called C funds. And those pots of money go to certain groups that are disproportionately affected. We need to be able to designate our student parents as an equity group. So that's another sort of advocacy point that I'm working on along with some of my colleagues. And I know I learned here at this conference a couple of years ago about the Title IX protections that student parents have, but not all faculty and administrators are aware of those Title IX protections. So that's something else that we're working on as a women's caucus at the state level, is making sure that we have some board policies and administrative regs that are standardized that could be sent out to all 116 community colleges in California so that students' rights are protected. And, I know some colleges, I think Cerritos is here, have like a student parent liaison. That's a really important position, because if you're a pregnant student, like for you, Amber, you shouldn't have to email and reach out to every single one of your professors to say, hey, I had a baby, or, oh, by the way, I had a miscarriage, or, oh, by the way, I had an abortion, right? That's all protected under Title IX. And if there were one point of contact that could actually reach out to the individual professors to explain to them, this student won't be in your class and this is why, because a student shouldn't have to tell their story over and over and over again. So those are some of the things that I'm working on the macro level statewide. But when we bring it back down to LACCD, and I think you have a question about this, the pandemic really sort of exposed some of the inequities in terms of how our students are learning and how difficult it is for them when they're parenting as well. Our students became teachers, and I know we all know this because their children were on Zoom and they were on Zoom, and meanwhile they're struggling to make ends meet. So I think we have a lot of work to do. I think there were some silver linings that sort of came through during the pandemic as well. So I hope that kind of answered your question, Amber.
You definitely did. And it just refueled me as excited to have this team, really, truly. And you touched on something that was asked too about the institutionalizing this and funding, as it is everything that the Family Resource Center does, and or the Workforce Strategy Center for that matter, is entirely grant funded and soft funding, which, has been sustainable for 20 years because of the great work and, thinking outside of the box with different types of funding streams, whether it's WIOA, whether it's Marnie initially started with workforce dollars to train the early care workforce and supported student parents kind of through the back door by training students to work with families. But one of the things that it was, mentioned and as a question is about how we might engage with K through 12 systems or adult schools. And Dr. Adrienne Ann is our dean over adult ed for the whole district, and she works very closely with Doug and kind of thinking outside of the box of there isn't a family resource center on our other college campuses. So how do we get this work into the college? How do we get them to start thinking about it outside of just childcare or outside of a childcare center? And so if you, Dr. Mullen, if you can talk a little bit about how you see the landscape of adult ed and how we can work together to support student parents.
Okay, great question, Amber. So you're right, we don't have the same program, the Family Resource Center, across our 9 colleges. What we have are pockets of practice across the 9 colleges. So I've worked with Dr. Marriott and Marnie Roosevelt and everyone else on this call, and we've written a couple of grants that we've rolled out best practices across the other 8 colleges. And we went to a training at LA Valley College. They showed us their full menu of services. And this work has taken years to build, and it's got a strong foundation, and they've added as student needs have become apparent. And they've built this wonderful program, but it didn't get built in a day. And adult ed in our district is only about 6 years old. And it was funded from a grant. Now it's a categorical grant in the state of California that partners adult ed with K-12 and creates the seamless pathway for adult education students from our unified school districts into the community college, and then from the community college into the 4-year system. In writing these different grants, we were able to leverage, we wrote one with the Accelerator Funds. And so we were able to leverage money from the Accelerator Funds, leverage it with adult education funding, which is California Adult Education Program, and create pockets of practice. And so the colleges adopted the best practice they feel that they can institute at their campus. So for some, that was having backpacks for parents, student parents for their children going to school at the same time. For others was making sure their restrooms near the non-credit office had changing tables in them, because we knew that the parents brought their students to tutoring, brought their children to tutoring when they came to the college. So we wanted to make it ease of service, right, to how we onboard student parents into our programs. And the way we've pivoted, creating our curriculum design to make sure we have a component that's supportive. All of our non-credit programs have a counselor, an adult education counselor. We have not been able to institutionalize having a social worker, which we understand the benefit of that. It's just a challenge to onboard that position across our district with what we call 100 money versus categorical money. How we partner with the USDs, Amber, is adult education is housed in our K-12 system, but it's separate from K-12. It's under their umbrella. We have created seamless pathways for our students who are parents from the adult K-12 system into our community college system. So we have this initiative in California, Guided Pathways. And so we have pushed that down to non-credit into the adult schools. It's a credit-driven approach, but we've pushed it down to non-credit and working with our adult schools. So we've onboarded them academically, and then we've also created the social service wraparound. And we've used the model that's developed out of the workforce programs that's at LA Valley College, where the students all meet with a social worker. They have community support wraparound services. And again, these are pockets of practice that we're creating and cultivating across our 9 colleges. And we're partnering with our K-12 adult ed partners to make sure that we complement the services they offer in K-12, that we can bring that service forward with the student. So kind of a long answer, but Doug can wrap around in that as well, because he's really been a leader in this among the adult ed deans.
Did you want to touch on that at all, Doug?
Sure. Yeah, I'm happy to. Yeah, I'm happy to follow Adrienne. I think what she said is true. It's been a shared learning environment, and she's been instrumental in sharing it across our 9 campuses. Funding has helped that to pilot programs, but I liked what Andra Hoffman said about institutionalizing these things, because although we can spread and pilot and have good results, it's when they become classes where students are enrolled, and non-credit is a great vehicle for that. People can enroll in a non-credit class, get a student ID number that can be paired with a not-for-credit workforce academy that's short-term, that helps individuals get jobs. And if these other holistic supports are in place, then we can see success. So yeah, I'm happy to talk about that or other workforce items. I would share, we have gotten feedback from student surveys across the district where our enrollment across the district and nationwide in higher ed has dropped during the pandemic. And much of the feedback, I think, has to do with family responsibilities. It's very challenging to juggle kids in your house on Zoom, you in Zoom, working and going to school, just as has been cited. So enrollment dropped, and I think it's shined a light on structural inequities, and this is an opportunity to put into place support systems to help people come back. Feedback from students also says in our district, they want to be in person. I think that's imperative with workforce programs. We have a 6-week advanced manufacturing academy. You can't do that online, and so we made an argument that that's essential infrastructure. I'm grateful for Andra's leadership with that. We had certain hard to convert class that we were put in protocols, and people came in person. If they come in person and are following all the COVID protocols, what's happening with their families? So if we're able to support them, whether it's a stipend check while they go through the intensive 6 weeks, and we have employers at the other end that hire them. Right now, we are having trouble meeting demand from our manufacturing employer partners who want a workforce. And that's a great position to be in, because I think all education is workforce development. We have to listen to our industry needs and help people move forward. But in doing so, if we add the supports that we've discussed today, we're going to lose less people. We're going to connect people with resources they might otherwise not have known of, whether it's scholarship money, whether it's tuition assistance, whether it's childcare. It'll connect not only them to employment in the next step, but ideally resources for their whole family. So don't know if I answered the question, but
I don't know that I'm
happy to keep that. I'm just following Adrienne. So thanks, Adrienne.
Thank you, Doug. Sorry, I had a little set change. I had kids jumping on me while I was trying to pay attention. So real life, they're not in school. But everyone's talked about it. We started talking about it, and there was some stats on your slide, Luma, too, about the success of supporting student parents, success rate being 11% higher. Marianne, obviously you have much more rich data as well. But Luma, can you just talk let's take it back a moment to the student and just talk about, as you've supported students virtually, what is, or even before virtually, what has been your biggest successes or students' biggest successes?
I don't know what the biggest success is. I mean, I feel so privileged in my position because I get to hear the successes all the time. And it's extremely fulfilling work. I can share a couple of success stories with you, though. I think it would make sense to share quickly a couple of very simple ones to give you a sense of just how easy it can be for us to help our students, right? And then maybe one that's a little bit more difficult. But just as a quick example, we had a student who was not receiving any financial aid at all and just did not know why. And she was not going to be able to stick through school if that were the case. So with my support, we were able to figure out what it was. And it was she required a translation of a document. It was a high school diploma from Guatemala, and until she submitted that, she wasn't going to get any financial aid. She couldn't figure out how to get it translated, and then there was the cost, and the cost, like, I'm not sure what it was. I think it's definitely under $100. It was maybe like $65, right? So for her, I remember her saying, if I pay this, I can't pay for groceries this week, right? $65 to us is, to many of us, like, oh, okay, easy fix, right? But to her, this could have been the thing that caused her to drop out, and we would have lost her. So we found the translation person who I knew would have, that translation would have qualified for what the school was looking for, because there are a lot of steps, right? And then and we paid the fee, and after the processing time that financial aid can take, eventually she received full financial aid. So $65 invested, she got thousands of dollars in her bank account, and she's still with us, has stuck through COVID. She's on her way to transferring, right? So it can be something like that. And where could she have gone to tell someone? What office does she go to tell somebody, I need $65 for this translation? If we didn't exist, right? There's nothing like that. Another simple one is a student who I tell this story a lot because it's a really good example, and because it keeps changing. Her story continues to get better and better, but it's a story of a student who was, when COVID hit, she lived in a multi-family household in a small apartment, and was trying to figure out where on earth she was going to take her classes, where she could sit and take classes, where she could study in a quiet spot with little kids everywhere. And she created a little study space out of her closet. This was in the heat of LA summer. It was over 100 degrees on a regular basis, and it continued. She was in summer school, but it was that hot early in fall too, for the beginning of our fall semester. And it was one of those closets where I remember when I first met her on Zoom, I saw her drenched in sweat. And she showed me how the carpet in the door, it was one of those things, where there's no air at all at the bottom of that door. So she was just in this insane situation, and she was at her end emotionally and physically, and just was like, I can't do this every day. I don't know where to go or what to do. And we purchased a cooling fan for her, a high-end cooling fan, and it made a big difference. And it got her through those tough months. And so that's that one little simple thing. Again, at probably $100. But also she likes to say, because she shares a lot. She likes to say that she was looking for a fan and she got a family. And I think that really comes, it's just a lot of times there's a psychological aspect too, right? Of just having someone in your corner, somebody who listened to your fan story, your closet story, and cared and did something about it. And she's really built a community out of the other student parents that she knows. And when she didn't get into nursing school, her first round of application, she called me, and from the dentist's office, and when she just got the news and was crying and called me. But when she recently had some amazing news and got into nursing school, she'll be starting in the fall in an RN program at our campus. She called me again, and she also shared it with all of the student parents and wanted me to tell everyone else, right? So she will tell you, and I think her quote was up early, she will tell you that she doesn't think she would be here if it wasn't for the support she received. I mean, she especially after not getting into nursing school that first time, if she didn't have that support, she wouldn't have tried again, right? So those are easy things you can do. One last story of something a little more difficult to talk about. We definitely have helped homeless students and students in domestic violence situations. There was a student recently who was in both of those circumstances. So she was homeless with a couple of kids, and she had fled her domestic abuse situation. And her mom said she could stay with her if she helped with the rent. But her mom also said that she would not be able to or willing to watch the kids while she did work. So she was staying in her car, staying at different people's homes. She had a bad you know, her relationship with her mom wasn't perfect either. So it was a tough situation. And of course, what we wanted to do foremost is keep her safe, but I also wanted to keep her in school. And even, you know, while it might seem like there's something more important at hand, for me, that just made me want to keep her in school more, even in just one class, right? So she used to keep her kids with her father. She couldn't do that with their father, sorry. She couldn't do that anymore. And she was tempted to, right, to go back because things were really tough. I think there's a, oh, sorry, I thought there was a comment about something else. But so we were able to give her childcare. Now that's not something we do all the time, but through one of our grants, we're really fortunate enough to be able to give the student full-time childcare for 2 children starting in January of this year. And that has kept her in school and work and away from a dangerous situation. She's also been receiving counseling, family counseling for her and her mother, as well as her individually, to deal with their own stuff, so that her housing situation for now is sustainable. I've met this student and I've met her mother on Zoom. I've met, you know, just in the background, I've met her kids. I've even talked to her abusive ex in the past before I realized he was abusive on the phone once. So I know this whole family, and I don't think, and the truth is that, you know, her whole family is a part of the story, right? So all of this stuff that we're doing is related to her chances of success, right? For her family and for herself, and her success is directly related to her kids' success. So I don't think that what we do for her is out of the scope of what our job is. It's certainly a rare case. We don't do that for everyone, but I'm very proud of what we've done for her. She also received a laptop, she received textbooks, she's received real wraparound support to keep her, and she's still with us. On Mother's Day, she sent me, well, actually, she sends me all the time thank you texts. So that's again why I feel so fortunate to be in my position. But on Mother's Day, she sent me a happy Mother's Day note. Now, I'm not a mother, but she said, "You have made me a better mother, and my kids have a brighter future because of you. So happy Mother's Day." And she feel, you know, I try to be very optimistic, but 6 months ago, if you asked me her chances, I wouldn't have told you they were good. And where she is now and versus then, really, I see a completely different trajectory for her. You know, it's black and white, and she feels the same way. Those are the kinds of things that you can do. Her future was not written, right? It was on us. We had to step up in that moment, right? It was now or never in that moment, or things could have gone very differently.
I mean,
Can I follow that up, Amber, a little bit?
absolutely.
I think those stories really highlight the importance of somebody trained in therapeutic communication, trained in her background to have at an institutional level. When in workforce development, prior to my partnership with Marnie and the work that we get to do, you know, often the lens is model professionalism, show up on time, we're getting you ready for the workforce. So our professional experts are individuals that are helping people through. They might be on short assignments with grants. They're not trained the way Luma is when somebody comes to them and says, I need to bring my child to the academy today because she's not safe at home. And so, you know, to be able to react, and when people would come to me as an administrator or director and say, somebody shared this, I don't know how to respond, to have somebody like Luma to connect the dots right away, you're more likely to have the outcomes that she just cited. And I've seen that in a great many cases with our workforce development program, because we put Luma and the licensed marriage and family therapist up front, and they do a workshop on, you're unemployed, you should feel stress. Here's how you handle stress. Did you know about these resources? And you can hear like an exhale in the room where people feel, wow, I'm being seen as kind of a whole person with family rather than an individual to train to fill this position and job. So I think it highlights the importance of institutionalizing and blending these services well beyond, hopefully, and I know this is Andre's vision, well beyond workforce development or adult ed. This should be a family-friendly campus mentality about how we do our service. So I just wanted to share that. So.
Thank you, Doug. And Luma, I always love when you speak because you always have a new story and it comes straight from the heart, and we're so grateful to have you. I want to add to that. We have a district foundation and we also have a local foundation at LA Valley College. It's really important to have partners in the community. It's important to raise money outside of, even if we wind up institutionalizing a program like this, we can't use public funds to help someone pay their rent or to, assist them in the ways that we have the freedom to do because we have those partnerships. So I think building partnerships, writing grants, getting private donations is really, really important. But something else that we've done at LA Valley College, which I'm really proud of also, and that's thanks to the leadership of you, Marnie Roosevelt and Doug, is create a partnership with our local elected officials. So we have a very strong relationship with an assembly member in the district who actually got us a state budget carve out of $800,000 to support the Family Resource Center. He's willing to carry legislation to help our students. So developing those partnerships, finding a point person on your campus or in your program to help you with that is key, because you can't just rely on, I see a lot of comments in the chat of, we can't support our students beyond $1,000 grant. We have to think creatively if we're going to support these students. And my job, as an elected official, is to work at the state level to try to get more support. We have a federal lobbyist also who, works in Washington, D.C. so we can get some reforms. And I'm really hopeful now that we have a new administration that maybe the focus will be on student parents. So thank you.
Yeah, and I want to follow up on you, Andra. So, Luma's position, people are asking about how we are funded and how we get money out to our students. So I want to address that. Luma's position, Amber knew for a few years that we needed to connect our students with the community for ongoing services. We knew we couldn't do everything. And we went to our local supervisor and sort of said that, and she helped us make a connection so that we got funding through the Los Angeles Homeless Services Authority to be able to hire Luma. So that's something that I recommend that you do in terms of finding funding. You got to connect with the community. Assemblymember Nazarian, who did the carve out for us, was also sort of along those lines. Our president at the time invited him to come see the Family Resource Center, and he loved us. And who knew 2 years later, he sent, actually Doug, Amber, and I were together downtown at a meeting, and he sent me an email and said, I need a proposal for $800,000 in less than an hour. And we sat downtown at a restaurant and came up with a proposal. And he really championed it for us. So that's one thing that I suggest that you do if you want funding. The other question that I want to, and we talked about before that we have C-Campus funding, we have some workforce funding. It's a matter of cobbling together funding that I can see will last us. I like to have 2 years of a cushion, so that we feel comfortable with our work. But how do we get money to students? That was a question. So that's going to be easier or harder for you dependent on the situation that you're in. We are lucky we're kind of a hybrid. The Family Resource Center at Valley College is kind of a hybrid. We work with the district, but we also work with our own campus foundation. And we've done a good job of working with local foundations. I can't remember if we even have any national funding, we may, but, and we've gotten funding that we are able to directly get to students, which means that when Luma sees a need, at this point, she pretty much just requests what she wants. But if it's for a ton of money, she'll run it by me and say, how do you feel about this? But we're able to write a check to students through our foundation. And then most importantly, it doesn't necessarily get, it doesn't get reported to financial aid, because that's the big concern, is that we don't want anything that we give our students to be affecting their financial aid. We have gift cards. We do a lot of distributions. We're so lucky to work with the Good Plus Foundation, and they supply us with absolutely anything that we can think of that our students might need for their children and for adults as well. So I think it's a matter of kind of thinking outside the box, partnering with community agencies. When we got Believe in Students funding at the very beginning, we put it directly into students. I think it was called Zelle, but it's like Venmo. It works like Venmo, and it had to go directly to a faculty member, of which I am, and then go directly to students. And that really opened up the funding. And what I've found during COVID is that funders have been incredibly generous, contacting us and saying, how's it going? What can we do to help your students? And also, I've reached out to them as well. But I think, it's especially a time when people want to respond. The community wants to respond and help students as we're learning about their needs. So if you have more specific questions, you can for sure, you're going to have our contact info and you can get in touch with me.
Thank you, Marnie. I was going to actually ask you to address that. And I also want to mention your, different creative ways of funding or thinking about how to get funding to students. We were able to partner with our district foundation on a grant proposal to get CARES money to our foundation, not the money that was going to the college. And it was the first ever of its kind for our district foundation to write a 2-gen proposal in which we provided, the money had to be for food. It was called Food for Families. So we kind of thought outside of the box, and it couldn't be gift cards, because if they could use the gift cards at a grocery store for things other than food. We were able to partner with Imperfect Produce to deliver food directly to families, and we counted each student and each child in the application. So it wasn't just about the student, it was their whole family size taken into account. And it was such a phenomenal experience and such a creative way of thinking outside of the box to get something, something to students, even if it wasn't direct aid. But so I wanted to just mention that, and that LUMA's position, actually, as Marnie mentioned, was through the Los Angeles Homeless Services Authority through our foundation. That didn't come to the college. And when we were able to find different funding to institutionalize LUMA at the district level, that freed up that money to go as direct aid to students who were experiencing food or housing insecurity. And they were incredibly responsive in allowing that for us to shift that. But I also just want to say that as we do this and as we write these grants, there has to be a data component. We have to show that what we're doing is working. Marnie mentions when she started the Family Resource Center, that wasn't the case, but now, that is important. And I want to just shout out, I don't know if they're in the audience today, but we are also funded by ECMC Foundation to look at our student parent work and really think through how the impact we're making. And we're partnering with the Institute for Women's Policy Research on a data collection grant. But I just wanted to ask you, Marianne, we heard from you, Luma, and I hope to hear more from you too, as we continue to chat about, success of students in that story. But how do you tell that story with data? Like, for those asking in the audience, it's such an important topic to talk about. How do you tell that story to data, and what are the components that you need at an institution to do your work?
Thanks, Amber. I would say I'm obviously biased, but it is so critical to be able to identify who your student parents are. 5-10 years ago here at MCC, I think the conventional wisdom said that, yeah, we know there are parents among our students. MCC is in the snow belt. So in the winter, if there was a snowstorm and the K-12 schools closed, MCC would follow suit and close. And the idea was that, well, we have employees with kids who are going to be getting off their school buses early today. And we also probably have some students who have kids too. So they need to get home too to get their kids off the bus. It wasn't until I was able to really dig into all those years worth of our data on our students' marital and parental status that I was able to show that, in fact, 1 in 5 MCC students is a student parent. And that really changed the conversation, because no more was it, oh, we have a few student parents here and there. It was, wow, 1 in 5, that's a lot, that's significant. And then when I could make the case that 80% of our student parents are Pell eligible. Among our single moms, who represent most of our student parents, more than 9 out of 10 of them are Pell eligible. And I could really, what I was able to do is take the data on our students' marital and parental status and their kids' ages and merge it with data on each of those students' characteristics. So gender, race, ethnicity, Pell eligibility, program, longitudinal data on their enrollment at MCC. Basically, it takes, as everyone here knows, it takes several years for a student parent to get their degree. Andrea, you referenced that earlier. It takes several years. It's not, oh, it's a 2-year college, I'll be in and out in 2 years. It's life gets in the way of our student parents' education. So when I talk to other colleges, and other colleges and organizations tend to contact me on a regular basis because MCC is known for having this data back, almost a couple decades. What I say is that if you want to do a first pass, get a hold of the financial aid data, because there are questions on the FAFSA that ask students' marital status and their parental status. So if your college is one of the ones who doesn't explicitly collect data on students' marital and parental status, you could do a first pass by having your institutional research office look at the FAFSA data. And that will tell you not of your whole student population, but of your students who have applied for FAFSA, how many are student parents and what their marital status is. Because we know with our single moms, the barriers to success are so much greater. After I had run all of these different analyses, looking at the hard data, looking at Pell eligibility of student parents compared to non-parents, and the sex and race breakdown, and college readiness, are they college ready or not when they first enter MCC? The next step was MCC was one of 4 community colleges nationwide awarded the Single Mom Success Design Challenge. So that is being funded by ECMC, and it's being overseen by the Education Design Lab. And as part of that project, one of the first things we did was our core team for the project interviewed single moms and MCC faculty and staff. And that started really doing a deep dive into who our single moms are and what their experiences are like. So once we had that information, I was then able to create this whole student parent survey that I administered to all of our student parents a couple summers ago. Amber, if you pull up that one graph, difficulties experienced. So you basically, I started with the hard data, Pell eligibility, gender, race, ethnicity, college readiness. And then I was able, because I knew who our student parents were and I had some idea of what their barriers to success were, I was able to create this survey. And so it was a very, very low lift to have our student parents fill it out. It was only 15 questions. I tried to make it not too time consuming for them to do. And one of the questions I asked on it was, I gave a list of possible difficulties they may have experienced. And I asked, which of these difficulties have you experienced as an MCC student parent? And then I had them check off each one. They could check all the ones that applied. And as you can see here, feeling stressed and overwhelmed was the #1 difficulty. After that was not getting enough sleep and having work commitments, lack of time for yourself, lack of quality time for your children, work commitments getting in the way of school, and problems with basic needs like paying for utilities and food and housing. So this really, helped again shape that narrative, tell that story about our student parents and what they're dealing with on an everyday basis. So it's just, once you can, there's a quote from an efficiency expert, I can't think of his name. It says, if you can measure it, you can manage it. So once you can identify who your student parents are, you can look at the hard data that your institutional research office and your financial aid office have. And then you can start figuring out, okay, what else do I want to know about? What other details do I want to know about our student parents? One of the questions I asked on my survey was, have you ever disclosed to MCC faculty and staff the fact that you are a student parent? 2/3 of my respondents said no. They have never disclosed to their faculty or other MCC employees that they're a student parent. And that speaks volumes. I mean, it showed that there was sort of this stigma around being a student parent. I asked a follow-up question, if you have not disclosed your status, why didn't you? And the answers ranged from things like, well, I didn't want to make my problems someone else's problems. I didn't think there was anything they could do to help me. I'm very private. I don't like to share my personal situation with other people. So, but then there were also a lot of comments at the end of my survey saying, I don't know how you knew that I'm a student parent, but thank you so much for reaching out to me. I'm so glad MCC is interested in knowing this information. And it really just, it's like, it keeps giving. The data just keeps giving. I mean, I'm able to look at how our CARES Act funding affected our student parents as compared to our non-parents. We created a laptop loan program a year ago because once we went virtual, we started realizing that a lot of our students across the board didn't have access to technology anymore. And so I'm able to look at that data. Well, how did loaning laptops to student parents compare with loaning laptops to our non-parents? And basically, you just start to see that the return on investment of supporting the student parents is so much greater because you're not just helping one person, you're helping an entire family. One question I get asked a lot is, how does MCC collect our data, the initial data on who our student parents are? I see that in the questions. What we have done since 2003 is we have students fill out a survey. It's kind of morphed over the years. Right now it's 7 questions, but we have them fill out a survey every single semester when they register for classes. And one of the questions on there is marital status. Another question is parental status. And that's what I'm able to base all of my analyses on. You can see here in the quotes, this is the qualitative data that our student parents included on my survey a couple summers ago. But basically, the survey that we have all of our students fill out every semester is, we do it intentionally every semester because if you get that information at one point in time, it won't help you. If you get it at admission, you'll know at admission how many student parents you have, but you won't see the fluctuations. So you won't see that the student who is single and childless this semester may be married and pregnant the following semester, or the student who has a 17-year-old this semester, a year from now, that child may be independent and their parent isn't responsible for them anymore. I will say MCC is in the process of changing up that process a little bit. Up until now, from 2003 until now, we've had students fill out that survey when they register for courses. Starting this coming fall 2021, what we are going to do is put the survey in tie it into students' email accounts, their MCC account. So when someone becomes a student at MCC, they have to activate their account, which is tied to their MCC email and Blackboard and Banner self-service. And so what we're going to do is tie our survey to that, because our system makes employees and students change their password every 6 months. So by doing that, we know that every 6 months, students will be shown that survey, and they will fill it out at that point before they can change their password. So it's going to allow us to continue getting this ongoing data, not just a snapshot in time. Is the survey required to register for classes? Currently it is if the student is going in through Banner self-service. They have to fill out the survey before they can get to the course registration screens. Although we get a lot of data from that, there are certain programs where students really don't have a choice about which courses they register for. And faculty will just register students for the courses they need for the next semester. So in those cases, the students don't go into Banner self-service. Their faculty members register them. And so we are missing some data because of that. I think that this tying our survey to students' email account is going to give us 100% compliance rate, because it is something students will have to do every year, twice a year. I'm trying to think what else to tell you about.
I'm going to follow up to what Marianne had shared. If I can jump in, Marianne.
Sure, definitely.
Yeah, your data is so great, and it's helped us frame much of the dialogue. And what we captured from our workforce training participants mirrored what you found with the psychological findings about stress, and that was a Deming quote that you mentioned. As the technology department chair, I'm thinking about continual process improvement. So if you can measure it, you can manage it. I want to share, based on that feedback, we created 2 12-hour non-credit courses titled Strengthening Working Families. So the benefit of these courses is that they focus on work and family balance and life management. And Marnie and the Family Resource Center and people in our areas encourage students to enroll in that. If they say, I can't enroll in anything this semester with all I've got, we say enroll in that, and our enrollment in that class went up. They stay connected to the campus. They'll get a certificate on their transcript. It helps institutionalize the work because it's apportionment generating class, but it doesn't negatively impact their transcript. So I wanted to share that with the people on the call. That might be a creative way to use non-credit to help institutionalize some of the resources that we're talking about. And it came out of the data that Marianne shared. So thank you, Marianne.
That's great.
I just wanted to reiterate the importance of identifying students in general, and the difficulty of getting students to disclose comes up a lot when we think about that. We certainly have not done the kind of research that Marianne is doing, but we do survey our students, and so we've been really intentional about how to survey our students, especially in certain populations. We're sharing certain things like your housing or mental health issues is not going to be something you do on first day you meet someone, even on paper. So that's just also something to think about, is that we really try to think about how to connect with students in an authentic way. In our space, we can do that because of the way that my work and Lisa, our marriage and family therapist's work, has been directly embedded into some of the programming. So for Doug's students, since we do give workshops to them that are mandatory, we can get to know them first, and we can have an hour and a half of that before we ask that kind of question. Not everyone's going to have the capacity for that, obviously, but it's been really great to regularly adjust the way that we look for that information, and we're getting more and more disclosure because of those kinds of adjustments. I also wanted just to comment quickly about, we talked a lot. I realized that all the stories I told them then were about funding in some way, and that then we talked a lot about how do we get funding, but just I want to clarify how important the other aspects of the work that I do is, or and that it's very often not related to funding. So just with that student who we gave the childcare to, beyond that, and maybe more importantly, is that we've enrolled her into our smaller cohort, which we called parent scholars. And this means that she will automatically get regular check-ins. She will receive various other kinds of support, and then she'll be required to attend personal growth workshops. And then maybe most importantly, she has to and does attend a regular student parent cafe that we created virtually over the last year. And this has really become integral to what we do. It's like a support group of parents, and a way that students have stayed connected and supported in such a alienating time in this last year, and especially high stress time. So that's been amazing for students to have each other. And there are a lot of aspects to what we do that you don't have to have funding for. Obviously, ideally, you do all of it. But if you can do some of these other things too, we've heard time and time again how important those aspects of our work have been to students as well.
Thank you for saying that, Luma, and just clarifying. And Marianne, I wanna let you finish what you were saying too. I also just want to mention, there's some questions in there about how you review and analyze it, how often, that I want you to touch on. But as we were talking about the importance of this data collection, and as you're talking too about it popping up and being tied every 6 months to these are really innovative ways to think about how to do this better. And then I'd love for you to talk about how often it's done and the importance of that too. I just want to give a shout out to a colleague of mine. I serve as a parent advisor to Ascend at the Aspen Institute. Marnie serves as a expert, and Doug and our president as well. But my colleague, who's another student parent, Michaela Martin, has been advocating for this in Oregon for years. And I believe it was just yesterday, her proposed bill passed through the Senate with Senator Gelser, which will collect at a state level across Oregon. So that's, I believe, SB 564. I'm going to put it in the chat, but really incredibly groundbreaking for our field.
You read my mind, Amber. I was going to give a shout out to Michaela. She's a law student, I think second year law student, and she has mobilized the state of Oregon to collect data on student parents at all Oregon public universities. And it's going to be signed by, her bill is going to be signed by the governor next week. So it's incredible how this work has taken off, and how much room there is to really maximize the impact. Before I talk about our research and our data, I'll just say that one of the other great things about knowing who your student parents are and being able to survey them specifically is that you're able to find out things that you as college administrators and faculty and staff would not have thought of before. So for example, for our Single Mom Success Design Challenge, based on the student parent survey I administered and our court team's interviews with single moms and faculty and staff, one of the important things that we found out that I don't think was on anyone's radar was the importance of having course flexibility. So I attended a session here this morning where someone mentioned including information, verbiage in course syllabi, saying if you are a student parent, if you need extensions on deadlines, please come see me. And part of this course flexibility stuff is something related to that, where our single moms told us that even in the best case scenario where they have childcare arrangements, say they have a certain babysitter who comes to their house to watch their kids for them when they come to school, things can fall through at the last minute, or their child could be sick and the parent can't get to campus to take an exam. And so one of the things we've learned is that course flexibility is key. So for example, ways to get around unexcused absences, being able to view lectures after the fact, and things like that to really address these best laid plans just falling apart. And it's things like missing classes and missing exams. And, as I said, 2/3 of our student parents didn't want to tell their faculty and staff that they are student parents. So it's all this kind of comes into play. So you really need this data from the student parents in order to design supports for them. In response to Sandy Goodman's question, we use the student parent data. I use it to present at forums like this to get the word out about how important the data is. And the way our institutional research office is set up is that each one of the researchers in it has their own niche areas. So if anyone at the college, if anyone at MCC is interested in student parent information, I'm the point person for that. So those requests come directly to me. And then the way we use it is for like the Single Mom Success Design Challenge. I was able to get information on not just our campus childcare center, but Amber, if you could show that slide, that childcare center slide again. So I had done the research years ago on how our campus childcare center benefits student parents. And then one of the pieces of gold that came out of the student parent survey I did a couple summers ago was that our campus childcare center is great. However, not all student parents have kids age 5 and under. And so what can we do to support the student parents with kids who are school age? And so we were able to take that data and turn it into actionable results. I had been communicating with our local childcare resource and referral agency to create a deliberate partnership with them so that we could refer our student parents out to them so that our student parents could help finding licensed childcare and other types of childcare too, but also before school care, after school care, summer camps, subsidies beyond our block grant and C campus to help pay their kids' tuition at other sources of childcare. And it's just the way the student parent movement has taken off at MCC has really drawn attention to this group. I mean, I agree that they should be considered part of the whole equity model. And you know, we need to design MCC, I think colleges in general need to design things with student parents in mind. It's not just that at MCC, 1 in 5 students is a student parent. That's what the national average is, according to IWPR. 1 in 5 college students across the board is a student parent. And you really need to be able to identify them and then seek them out for information on how you can best support them.
Couldn't agree more. Sorry, I thought there was I had a moment I thought I was unmuted. I want to mention that we have about 15 minutes or so left. Please, if you have more questions, put them in the Q&A as we can respond to them here now and or type and provide links. I put our website, the Family Resource Center Strengthening Working Families, was brought up quite a bit. And we'll all put, if we can, all the panelists put your email. I do have a slide I'll share at the end that has all of our contact information. But Janice, you asking a question about, this is Marnie, this is a question, this is something we often think about. And we actually talk to Sarah Goldrick-Grab about this often, like what is the right way? Do we serve more with less with more? What does that look like? And I want you to speak a little bit about that. But one thing that came to mind as you asked this, the first thing was that we don't have to reinvent the wheel. Like we can't do all of it, but how could you, again, think outside of the box to leverage what might already be happening on your college campus? And one of the ways in which the Family Resource Center did at the beginning of this pandemic, just that, was partnering with our nursing department on campus to have last year nursing students who were doing practicum hours that couldn't go to the hospital call each one of our families to do wellness calls. And that was, really, I think, impactful to the nursing field who hasn't really thought about, to Jen, about, you know, if you're talking to a patient, ask about their kids, vice versa. As well as our families really felt connected to the college and to us by having that personal touch. So, I mean, just back directly to your question though, Janice, Marnie, do you want to speak a little bit about how you think about the intensity of more or less?
Yeah, I think that's a tough one. I think we did more students less intensely before COVID. And it was so different because students could come in for diapers and then they could kind of hang out and they could chat with one of us and we could learn about them and, you know, help figure out the best ways we could serve them. And then during COVID, we went to this very high touch program for like 30 students. And it's really, really different. And I think even, you know, when Luma started the program with the nursing students and started doing check-in calls regularly with all of our students, I think we've learned a lot. I mean, I guess that's the basis of what I want to say. We've learned a lot through COVID that there are better ways to do things. And, you know, I said before that our team is talking a lot about how we are going to go back, and I'm envisioning that we'll keep the scholar group, right, Luma? I mean, I think we learned,
as well as the virtual services, a lot of them that we have connected to that group. And I think that this last year has been a great learning experience. And from my perspective, getting to serve less students more is great, because I can, you know, do everything that I can for each student. But of course there are always more students that we're probably not touching, and so, you know, it's a give and take.
I think that one of the things that's coming out of this really interestingly from every single one of us that have talked is that there's just not one size fits all. And there's not just one way to do this or to support students. It's not just at the program level, it's taking it to the policy level. Because if you have a program that's successful, but there's a policy in place above it that's hindering its ability to grow, then like, you know, there's not one way to collect data. We need to have student stories. We need to have a, you know, comprehensive data collection. We need to not just be thinking about education as, you know, a 2-year or that pathway, that we should be thinking about these short-term trainings as a way out of poverty for a lot of families, and how we really just wrap our arms around students and, you know, give them a hand up, not a handout. And so I just, you know, I think
one really big lesson that I learned too, just real quick, is that I don't have to give entire sessions, individual sessions, in order to check in with my students. Because of COVID, I created a Google Voice phone number, and I've been texting my students, and really that's been amazing, because they text me quick things, I text them quick things, and that's, for many of our students, that's how they want to be engaged. There are those students who are like, when are you opening up again? I need to see you in person. And there are also the students who can finally have a comfortable way of getting services through this virtual process.
And I also want to just speak to what Adrienne said before. You used a term, Adrienne, that I really loved, that I hadn't thought of. I wrote it down, pockets of practice, because I think that now, as this field is taking off so much, people are thinking a lot, you know, we get a lot of requests to help other colleges start programs. And I love that kind of thought. What we always say is, you know, start small, pick a few services that can work, at the same time be creating an advisory committee with campus partners, and at the same time figure out who your students are. You know, we know that's so important now, who your student parents are. But I love the idea of pockets of practice, just doing what you can do to get the ball rolling and to get, you know, upper management, your president and other senior people, VPs and deans, to be thinking about it. And I think the way that you bring visibility to the fact that your colleges have student parents is by just offering something, and then they become more visible. So I just wanted to get that in there. Pockets of practice.
I would add to Janice's inquiry about kind of scaling up the value of cohorts and the value of, I mean, it's the stories, the one-on-one stories are certainly impactful that Luma shared, but this really grew out of Marnie organically bringing together student parents to share the resources among themselves. So if there's not a one-on-one ratio, if you have a 1-to-20 and can help facilitate, that might be a way to look at it, because I understand what Janice inquired, and our funding changes every year based on what we have and who we're partnering with, which means we adapt and adjust the amount of stipends. We have to adapt and adjust, but we do the best we can with what we get year to year. But I wanted to respond to Janice's inquiry.
Amber, I wanted to jump in if I can.
You can.
Thank you. So I'm glad you like my term, Marty, pockets of practice, but and we developed that just because not everybody could onboard all their administration to let them adopt these different menus, different menu items that you had at LA Valley College, right? So they all adopted what they could adopt, with that being the foundation to build on. One of the things that we did do with the adult ed counselors for non-credit across the district is we had them call all of our students who didn't re-enroll, either from spring to summer or summer to fall, to find out how we could support them and keep them engaged. Our non-credit students are probably one of the most vulnerable populations that we have, because a third are probably parents, and that's what we've tracked at this point. And they're helping their school-age children succeed in school, as well as a lot have lost their jobs over the last year. Many were frontline restaurant workers. And so we've had to really pivot in non-credit and how we can retrain and re-engage our student population. So Doug's Academies are 6 weeks. Our non-credit certificates are a little bit longer. We try to do it within 1 semester, so 3 months or less, with a living wage, and that they're built that they can step back in. We know this population steps out to support their family, and Doug sits at the table with the other deans and adult ed across our district, and I've pushed back to some campuses because I want to make sure it's a living wage, and there's more than 100 openings a year in our community. So when someone comes out, that we're going to be able to place them. And we try to have all of our vocational educational non-credit programs with a placement component at the end. Resume building, how to interview, bring employers on campus to do that, or in last year virtually to do that as well. And that's been really a game changer. But when COVID hit, we had to pivot again as to how do we offer these same services online? So many of our programs have to be face-to-face and have a lab component, and we can't go into the hospital. So how do we do that? So we had to think differently once again. And then I wanted to address one other thing, Amber. I saw in one of the, I'm not sure if it was in the chat or the Q&A, about textbooks. And I was on a campus at East LA College for 12 years before I moved to our district office to kind of head this adult education area that we have. But we had the same challenges, and we found that students weren't buying textbooks because they're expensive, especially math and science textbooks. And they would change every semester. And it was just a little tweak that would change, but would cost a lot. So we went to our faculty and asked them if they would adopt a textbook for a 3-year period. And especially our math faculty, we were able to get that agreement, and then went to the publisher. So then we were able to build a lending library for our students, which was a game changer, because we saw our math and this was in the math area that we did this. So we saw our scores go up in math, as well as people would stay in the class and complete it. We were seeing students stayed in class, but they didn't successfully complete it. And then that puts them on this downward slope. So we really tried to address that. So that was one component that we were able to do. So hopefully that's something they can carry forward.
Thank you for answering that. I did see that. Go ahead, Andrew. I want to be thoughtful of time, but absolutely, please.
Just as a wrapping up comment, and thank you, Adrienne Ann, for bringing in the non-credit adult perspective. You know, community colleges, especially nationwide, have seen huge declines in enrollment. And I heard a statistic for California the other day that there are 16 million Californians between the ages of 25 and 54 without a college degree or certificate. So we have a real opportunity now nationwide for advocacy, because if we're going to recruit adults who either never came to college in the first place or stopped out at some point, we really need to be able to provide services holistically for them and their families. And so that's just something to think about when we talk about advocacy at a greater scale when we want to bring students back.
And I love what you said. And I think it's, you know, for me, a perfect closeout of really, as we've all talked about this, is the word opportunity. How much of what we're doing here is an opportunity, how much opportunity there are for families right now to come back to school, to have the support. You're all here. There's 60 participants on this call right now that you've had to think outside of the box and pivot your work in this last year, as students had to as well. And I just really want to thank you for coming and for participating and having really thoughtful questions. It's been a real pleasure and an honor to talk with my panelists and to engage with all of you. So thank you. And I hope you had a great first day at the Ohio State Symposium for student parent, the Ohio State Student Parent Symposium. And as a reminder, it picks up back in the morning at 8:55 with an opening from Dr. Donna Ford. So I will see you all hopefully in person at Ohio State. We can walk around the beautiful campus and catch fireflies.
Next year, Ohio.
Go Buckeyes.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Take care. Be safe.
Ohio or bust.
That's right.
Panelists, if you stay on for a moment, I'd love to get a photo. And Andrew
Well,
left.
Andra, maybe
left.
So I don't know what happened to my screen. All of a sudden it's like, I don't even know what's going on. I probably pushed some button that I have no clue.
It looks okay to me. I don't know if you're seeing.
Oh, does it? Because on my side, it looks distorted, like I'm in one of those like carnival house things.
I don't think so. No.
Okay, well, good. I'm glad to know that you don't see what I see.
Should I try to get Andra back on?
Yeah.
And I think we're still having some attendees. Oh, they're
great questions.
Yeah, really great questions.
Amber, you did such a great job.
You did.
Shout out to Amber.